What's up, YouTube? This is Giant Jigglypuff 3 here, and I'm going to be talking about state machines in Banjo-Kazooie on a very high level, very broad. Hopefully, it's just so that people can understand what's going on. So, we're going to be focusing on two kinds of state machines. One of them is for actors, and one of them is for Banjo's moveset. An actor is any kind of object that the player can interact with, or has it's like an update function. As an example, let's go to the Grublin. So whenever you first see a Grublin in Mumbo's Mountain, it's kind of just like running off on its own, and we're gonna consider that the idle state. That's what it's initialized to. So this is just kind of like it's on its own, no real interaction is needed. Now let's say the player goes within its sphere, it will then spot the player by turning towards the player, jumping up in the air, and screeching "Napapa." Once it does that, it'll start chasing the player. As long as the player is within the sphere, it will go in the direction of the player. Let's say we leave that sphere, it will then go back to the idle state, going about its business, chasing butterflies or something like that, whatever. And in every one of these scenarios, if BK attacks the Grublin, it will then go to the dead state where it flips over, opacity becomes 0, and it drops a honeycomb. Now, as a simpler example, we can go to the beehive. The beehive has two states more or less, where it's idle and it is dead. So once BK attacks it, it just becomes dead. However, there is a dialogue trigger if the player is within the radius of the beehive saying, "Hey, bear, don't take my honeycombs." So that is the overview of actors. Let's now go to movesets. Now, I'm only doing these 5 moves, or I guess states of Banjo, because that's plenty, to be honest. So, let's say you're not moving the control stick, you're not pressing any buttons, you will be in the idle state. This is where Banjo looks around, Kazooie pops out, Kazooie pulls a prank on Banjo, Banjo starts pulling on Kazooie's neck, etc. When you're here, you have multiple options for button presses. If you press the control stick, you will start to walk. If you press A, you jump. And if you press B, you claw swipe. Now, each of these can branch out into more things. So let's go to walk, for example. Let's say you move the control stick to start walking, and now you let go of the control stick and you stop walking. You will go back to the idle state. But let's say while you're walking, you're pressing A. You will then jump. And if you are walking and press B, you will then roll. Notice how you cannot walk and claw swipe. In order to go from walk to claw swipe, you have to go through idle first. Now, once you roll, for example, right? Once you're done with the roll, it will go back to the idle state. Or you could press A and you can jump, but notice that there's no way from roll to walk and no way from roll to claw swipe. As well as claw swipe, you can press A partway through to jump, or if you just let it go all the way through, it'll eventually go back to the idle state. All of these lead to jump, and I didn't have a direction for jump because it really just depends on what you do afterward. If you land on the floor and press B, you'll go to roll, idle. If you land the water, there's a whole different thing, so I don't have stuff for that. But overall, here is kind of a breakdown of what the animation for roll is. So we're going to start off with setting the roll animation, setting the target velocity, checking that we have the collision for the hitbox of roll. So for example, if you just walk into a Grublin, you get hurt. But if you roll into a Grublin, that's a different hitbox. And so we need to activate that. And then we need to start the sound effect for like Banjo when he starts to roll. And yes, that's my impression of Banjo. Don't clip that. So once you've begun to roll, though, once you've already pressed the B button, you let go. And this is just gonna continue updating. It's gonna check for interruptions. For example, did you roll into the water? Did you roll into an enemy that makes you bounce off? Did you get hurt by any other means? It'll also check for button inputs. So did you press A to jump? I think that's actually all you can do during roll. So you can move on from there. And checking for the next state. So if you do press A to jump, then your next state will be jump. If you don't, it'll continue saying, continue the roll or whatever, or exit the roll. So Continue this until we exit the roll. Roll end. We're gonna remove the collision, and it will go to the next state in the update. So in case you want to mess with these moveset files, go to Core 2, go to BS for is it Banjo State? I don't actually know what BS stands for. If you figure it out, comment below. And these are all the player's moves. So we have stand for your idle animation. We have walk for when you move the control stick. Jump for when you press A. Claw when you press B while standing still. And twirl, which is your roll attack. And you'll notice how they have an initialize, an update, and sometimes an end function. Depending on, you know, where you're going at. Not everything's going to have an end function, by the way. But that's an overview on state machines. Hopefully that helps someone out. Thanks you guys for watching, and talk to you later.